So this is a short video, just talk around genuine Team Wendy Exfils and FMA knockoff Team Wendy Exfils. I'm putting this together because, to be honest, I was struggling to find information on if it's really worth having a genuine over a knockoff version. Now, that sounds kind of obvious in the sense of, yes, the genuine's always going to be better, but the price difference is huge. In the UK, I mean, we can buy the FMA helmets from AliExpress for in the region of £50 to £60 delivered. Whereas over here in the UK, you're looking at, for the Team Wendy Exfil, the cheaper one, the cheapest option they make is just shy of £400, which I think in the States they're around about $300, which I guess with exchange rate should mean that these are not as expensive as they are over here, but they are what they are, and you seem to have very few options over here. So what are the differences between the two? Well, I suppose firstly, it's the stuff that you get in the box. So here we have a genuine Team Wendy Exfil, and here is an FMA lid. Now, on the genuine, you get a sack, which it goes in. It's a little soft sack. I guess that's kind of cool, but at the same time, doesn't make a huge amount of difference. You get a box of accessories, which includes a shock cord kit. Let's get that out. Just shock cord kit front of the helmet to help retain your NVGs, and also a 5-slot mounting kit for the side rails, a sticker, and that is about it. On the helmet itself, you get a patch, and yeah, that's your lot. But there is a slight quality difference, which we'll come to. So now let's take a look at the FMA lid. Now this is one which I've sprayed because the finish was quite nasty, but to be honest, the Team Wendy has some issues as well. A bit of Krylon on here, just to take that shine off, and it's worked a treat, and this has been on here for quite a while, and actually it hasn't marked up too much, but of course it's always kind of cool when they do get scuffed up. Now the quality on this is very, very good for the money. I guess you can see why there have been legal cases trying to stop these helmets being sold. I think that's just in the US. I mean, clearly these will not meet the safety standards of the Team Wendy. But for airsoft, and let's be clear, this is for airsoft use, it isn't bad. It really isn't bad. Let's look at what it's like in terms of quality overall. Side rails seem to work. You can run headset devices through there. I've not had any issues with that. Mounting components here is a bit of a pain. You have to take screws, bend the helmet back, get it in, get the bolts in. I don't know if that's the same on the genuine, but it's still a bit of a faff. The Shroud. Now, the Shroud's not great. I'm running a genuine Rotos Rhino, a bit old school, but it's genuine, and it's a bit more affordable than some of the Wilcox. The fit in here is good, but there is quite a lot of play, and it does wobble quite a lot. Not good when you've got expensive glass hanging off the front. Now you can fix that by packing it out with some insulation tape, and as crude as that is, it works a treat. It gets it nice and stiff and solid. You don't get that with the Team Wendy. It fits tight out of the box. Here's one of those mounts I mentioned. Great for running. Components on there, accessories on there. I use that for a small night vision light, which gives me IR, a red light, and that is awesome. The Velcro seems good, not coming off the helmet at all, which is great. Bungees seem cool. I'm running a FMA lanyard here just to protect the NVGs. So on the inside, how's the counterfeit cam system? Well, this has been heavily used. You can probably see here some of the black covering here has come away just with use where it's worn off, and no doubt sweat has had something to play in that. It's very, very comfortable. Cam sit works, foot works well, all the chin straps are comfortable and fit well. Where you notice the difference when you compare them, I mean, these easily come undone and can move. The cables are thinner here, running off here. The cam fit system, while this works well, doesn't seem as robust. The pads definitely don't seem to have higher finish quality. All the components, for example, this sheathing here is not as good. And there's certainly less padding than compared to the helmet itself. But let's be quite clear, you are not buying this as a rated helmet to protect you against bumps. You're not going to get that for the price. It is very much a replica helmet for airsoft or whatever it is you're using. So for the money, this is brilliant. And I've run this for a while, but I've had a bit of an itch and I wanted to look into changing it. That's partly because I've got some nice PVS 14s from Acton Black, and it just feels kind of wrong having it on a knockoff helmet. I've had no issues with this whatsoever. But also I found when I used to run some of my previous night vision that was larger and heavier, the fit on the helmet, it could start to lean a bit. When you run it for a long time, you'd sort of get a bit of a lean on your head. Now that might just be the shape of my melon, but nonetheless, that wasn't great. You're sort of pulling it around trying to readjust it. So how's the Team Wendy compare? I'll keep that way because we're going to have a look at the two. So, the Wendy itself. Firstly, horrible shine, as you can see on the light. And if you put a flashlight on that, it really does reflect the light. Now, that's not unique to this. The other lid had it as well. From what I can tell, the carbon and the ballistic have a different finish, which is better. Now, I don't know if putting Krylon on this is going to void any warranties. It sort of feels that this is a premium lid. You wouldn't want to lose those warranties. But nonetheless, you can get covers, but Team Wendy covers aren't cheap, so it's worth bearing that in mind as well. So, as I mentioned at the box, you get these Picatinny rails, which fit great, and this is that mount that I use, which on this is rock solid. When you twist and engage this on the other lid, it does move. There's quite a lot of play on the actual mount that sits in here. I think that's just down to the cheap componentry. Now, as I mentioned, this is absolutely rock solid. There is no play in this whatsoever. But to be fair, with the insulation tape, that is pretty good too. So let's take a look on the inside. On the face of it, they are very, very similar. And in terms of replica quality, the Fma is very, very good. And it's very comfortable. Spent a lot of time in this and not really had many issues. Pads have started to wear. Some of the materials come away just where it's worn, and under sweat has degraded the material and it's caused it to fail. Now, the replacement pad kits, even the Fma ones, are quite expensive. Bearing in mind the price of the helmet, I think delivered they're about 25 quid when the helmet's 50. You sort of feel, well, maybe just buy another helmet and cannibalise it for parts. But anyway, that is what it is. You know, this is really kind of obvious, but the quality you get in this is what you'd expect over this. Cam fit system is better. Chin strap system is better, clips are better, pads are better. There's obviously more padding, so the helmet is of course designed to provide a certain level of protection, which is built into this. I've not run this for long at all. As you can see, it looks pretty mint, so we'll have to see how it progresses. But overall quality, you can see a noticeable quality difference when you take a closer look at it. In terms of comfort, you know, they're both pretty good. I'd say the Wendy is slightly better when you put one on than the other. But we're talking subtle differences here. And that's actually true with a lot of this. It is subtle differences. And I think really it comes down, if you were choosing one or the other, which way would you go? And budget is a big thing. But there's also some other things to consider. Budget-wise, this is very good value. And you cannot deny how good it is for the money, because it is very, very good. This, when you compare it, you do feel as if you paid a lot of money for what it is. But as I said, if you're running expensive night vision, you probably should invest in a decent lid, a decent mount, and retention system just to look after that investment. Now, on the bayonet fitting on these, all you need to do when it's engaged is if you just touch that release, that the MVG can fall. So having a lanyard system or something on this is going to be really important. But in terms of difference, other than that, it is a subtle difference. Yes, the Wendy is better over the Fma. If you're just buying it for a lid to run around in for airsoft, buy the Fma. If you are going to run expensive glass, I would suggest running the Team Wendy. By all means, you could run the FMA initially and then upgrade when you have the money. But bear in mind, it depends what you're running. If you're running cheap night vision, then the FMA is probably going to be fine. But if you're running something expensive, I think it probably makes sense to put the money into a proper lid. So I think that's about everything I was going to say. If there is anything more to report, I'll put something up online. I am going to get a cover for this Team Wendy helmet, because I think that's going to be important. So I get a multicam one, which will probably mean I have to do something different with the retention system, because the way that sits, I think it sort of sits about here. And when we see how this fits across, I don't know if there's space for that to run underneath. But you get these cords with the Team Wendy, and you can run them across to a ring off the PVS 14, and that seems to work quite well too. And actually that also helps put some tension into, frankly, what is a fairly rubbish mount in terms of amount of play you get on a Rhino. Helps just keep everything nice and tight. So that's it. I hope this is of use. There is a difference. It is subtle. If you're running expensive night vision, I think Team Wendy's the way to go. If you're not, or it's cheap night vision, fill your boots with the FMA.